So before we had a break, we had a session whereby we were discussing about the introduction to the core skills. And we appreciated the fact that core skills are making the opportunities to have deep learning happen. So as we start, I like us to go in the chat and we write one thing that we learned. Write something that you didn't know before the session. So let's go to the chat and type something that you didn't know before you joined the session, or something you didn't have a deeper understanding before we started the session. So go to the chat and type something that you didn't know before we started the session. So let's type in the chat, and those who cannot type in the chat, you can type it in the WhatsApp, then we'll get it. Something that you didn't know before we started this session. Let's type it in the chat. Let's type in the chat. We are typing something that you didn't know when we started the session, in session 1. Something that you learned in session 1. Thank you, Peter Kingangi. You type in something that you didn't know from session 1, or something you learned in session 1. Thank you, Winnie. Winnie says VoIP. We are supposed to type something that we learned in session 1 before we begin session 2. So we already have 2. Thank you, Mercy. Deep meaning of creativity. Thank you, Mercy Njama. Mercy Mwaniki talks about attributes of creativity. Thank you, Mercy. So in this session, we will be looking at learning to learn, because we'll be looking at 3 competencies. We'll be looking at learning to learn, we'll be looking at self-efficacy, and we'll be looking at communication and collaboration. Those are the core competencies which we'll be looking at. So as we begin, we're going to learn about learning to learn. Learning to learn is more of a new core competency which has been brought on board. And in this competency, we are talking on how we can empower our learners to learn. So you find that when we are talking about this competency, we are talking about the ability to pursue and persist in learning. So that ability to continue to have learning as your continuous learning process. And here we are talking about organizing your own learning by effective time management, information, both individually and as a group. So those are the aspects which we are talking about when we are referring to learning to learn. So when you talk about learning to learn, we are talking about the following competencies. This includes being aware of the learning process and the needs as an individual. So how do I learn? What type of a learner am I? What do I need so that I can learn effectively? It also means being able to identify opportunities which will facilitate you in learning. So being able to identify opportunities which will enable you to learn. It also talks about the opportunity to explore and take up new knowledge, values, skills, attitudes. So how are you in terms of assimilating to the new environment across knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values? And it also addresses the aspect of use of guidance, knowing your abilities and exploring what you need for you to excel in what you are doing. So these are the competencies that are available for learning to learn. It involves learning to know. It involves learning to do. It involves learning to be. And it involves learning to live with others. So there is self and what you can do and who you are and how you can engage with other people. So there are several steps which we have in learning to learn. And these steps, they vary from level 1 to 4. And they include learn under encouragement. You take learning as an obligation, self-driven. So you are the one who is driving that aspect of learning. That is one about learning to learn. The other one is learning willingly, whereby the way you approach new information is not by being forced or tasked to do something. There is intrinsic motivation on you accessing the learning or the information that you're supposed to look at. And then we have the aspect of self-directed learning. For example, the 1 hour break we had. Some people went to learn, some people are doing other things. So that ability of being able to learn, knowing that I need to learn, irrespective of what is happening. So that is a critical aspect of learning to learn. To learn. So when you're talking about learning to learn, we are talking about that level of which level are you as you are learning to learn? Are you in level 2 or level 4? At level 4 is where you stretch yourself and you look for opportunities, self-driven, self-seeking opportunities to learn. So if you tell children to read up to page 4, a child looks for different sources of information to enhance their learning experience. So looking at these 4 levels, what steps are our learners and why? Can we write it in the chat? What steps are our learners and why? Let's write it in the chat. What steps are our learners and why? Let's write in the chat. What steps are our learners and why? Yes? I took you through the 4 steps, which we are, and now I want us to reflect, and I'm asking ourselves, what are the steps? Where are our learners in these steps? And when you say level 1, Lizzie, tell us more. Why do you think they're in level 1? Give a short explanation why you think the learners are in that level.
My phone went off. I missed the steps, please.
Huh?
My phone went off, please.
Oh, I'm going to show them again. So Lizzie is saying, Naomi is saying, in early years they're in level 1 because they are just learning to pass or because they have to. Winnie is saying most have negative attitudes towards learning. Winnie, can you explain a bit more? Why do you think they have a negative attitude towards learning? Can you add more information? Edith is saying willingly because they get bored. Okay, thank you, Edith. Masi Mwaneki is saying level 1 because the teacher says so to avoid BS. So they are just responding to what the teacher said. Thank you, Masi. Masi Njama is also saying mixed, as it depends on the ability and IQ. So when you're saying mixed, Masi, do you mean 1, 2, 3 up to 4 or 1 and 4? How is your mix, Masi Njama? Lizzie is saying, mostly because teachers believe learners are receivers of knowledge. So Lizzie is telling us something more there, that it is us as teachers who think that our learners are receivers of knowledge. So we kind of condition them. So let's get more people. Let's get more people saying why. Judy Karanja saying inclusive motivation, because most of learners must be motivated to learn. So Judy, when you say inclusive motivation, who is motivating them? Maureen is challenging, say the teacher says so. So sometimes the respond because the teacher said so. Thank you, Maureen. Mercy Kinywa is saying, from WhatsApp, Esther has posted, because learners lack self-drive. Okay, that is critical. So whose prerogative is it for us to provide self-drive? You're saying it is self. How can we get impetus from external? Okay, those in level 2 do it for the reward. Okay, I get you. They do it for the reward, or they could be avoiding the cane. Sometimes I see herdsmen in classes. They have come from herding animals and then they go to class because you see them carrying a stick. That's the reward, because not being caned is a reward. That pain was not inflicted in me, so that can be a reward. So let's hear more. Those are the levels. Most learners that we train carry on some earlier misconception about subject. Yes, Winnie, yes. You can hear some saying, oh, my mother was not good in mathematics. So you wonder, is your mother learning in class or you're not here? Naomi says they're not part of it. They want to please their parent. And we normally see this with our learners. When they finish their homeworks, they bring to you and they say, teacher, your homework. You wonder, is it my homework or is it your homework? Thank you, Naomi. They want to please. Can we have one more? So Massimo Aneki is saying, when you're in level 3, you are intrinsically motivated. Okay, because you are able to learn independently. You're not supposed to be pushed, and you are aware of the significance of learning. Thank you, Massimo Aniki. Can we have some more? These are the levels, and you can see the levels and what they take. So I'll pose a question to all of us. How can we help our learners to progress through level 1 to 4? Can we offer strategies, now that we have been able to place our learners and we have justified why they are where they are, let's take another 5 minutes and share how can we move our learners across these steps so that we see that they are having the learning to learn abilities, from encouragement to looking for new learning opportunities. Let's share our perspective on the kind of strategies which we can design, deploy, develop, review, so that our learners can be able to go through these particular steps. So Essie says that by relating their learning to real life experience so that they can see the relevance of knowledge learned and also be enthusiastic. Thank you, Madam Kamau. And then Peter Kingangi is saying, by making learning interesting to motivate them. Kingangi, please tell us more. How do you make it interesting? Winnie talks about motivation by diversifying teaching strategies for better understanding. Thank you, Winnie. Tell us how to diversify. I want something I can take to my class. Give me some example of how I can diversify. Yes?
We can help the learners gain some self-motivation, which can help them understand their own learning.
Now, give us some more tidbits. How do you make them realize self-motivation?
Maybe you can give them exercises that are not much challenging from their level, so that they can rise towards what you are intending.
Okay, and how will you know they are doing the exercises for you and not for themselves? So Edith is saying, by inviting old boys who have achieved something as role model. Yeah, so they have some role model to see. Because we normally say, ukisoma utakuwa. Okay, thank you, Edith.
Can I read some from WhatsApp?
Yes, please.
Providing enough materials for pupils to explore, that is Boniface.
Mm-hmm.
And then Charles says, by making learning relevant to real life situation, mm-hmm, and use of real life experience by Samuel Kamau.
Okay. And Lucy says, providing a varied experience. Lucy, tell us more. What are these experiences? So you can see that people are providing different strategies that we can take up. Winnie says, use learner-centered methods like discussions, class presentations, games, and outings. Thank you, Winnie. And we have Leon Joki, who talks about encourage learners on the importance of learning, motivate them by letting them discuss what they know it's true, instill practicals in learning to enhance retention of what has been taught. Then we have Peter Kingangi talking about by use of creativity and life-related activity. Marcin Jama is saying making learner centered in a manner that if they don't do it right, correct, possibly thus willingly to learn. So I don't know what you mean by doing right, because as a learner, I am exploring, and one of the pitfalls of learning is when we go to right and wrong. Because the moment you kick right and wrong, you will exclude some of us. Edith is saying diverse learning to mean more practical than theory, which is boring. And Lizzie is saying as they engage in this, they tell their story. Yes, telling your story. That is powerful. So, having listened to what the people have said, can you list down what you are taking? We have got advice from all our classmates, and we have listened to what they have written. What is it that you will borrow from what they have shared, which you think you'll apply in your class? Can we take some 3 minutes and you can read through what they wrote or what you had and write what you are taking away. As for learning to learn, this is what I will do in my literacy and numeracy classes. We have got a list of so many approaches which were shared with our colleagues. So if any of approach is not part of what you do, this is an opportunity that you can pick. Thank you, Doc. What is it that you will borrow from this? What are you taking away? So you can write it down. Is there something you are going to change for you to address learning to learn? Is there something you are taking as it is? Or is there something you are going to change and adapt to your context? Maybe you have been doing it, but now from this discussion, you have got some more deeper ways of doing it. Thank you, Lizzie, saying varied method of teaching. Edith saying I will pick practical teaching, okay, for enjoyable, making it practical. Thank you, Edith. So it is very, very important that we appreciate where our learners are, and then we present the aspiration of where we want them to be. That way, it will help us when we are delivering our lesson. We are able, Lea Njoki talks of more practicals and field trips. So when you know where your learners are and you know what you want, you can be able to move to where you want them to be, because you clearly know what to do. But when you are dealing with the learners, a learner is a person. How do you encourage them to know who they are? So you watched the video on self-efficacy. So can you share, after watching this video on self-efficacy, it was the break time activity. I can see Philomena Wanjiko is saying, I will engage learners in several activities like games, group discussion, more practical. Thank you. George Gatitu say, use a variety of learning material for exploration. So we want to look at the learner now. We have seen the learning process. We now go to the learner. We want to address self-efficacy. Winnie says, giving them an opportunity to state the expectation and using learner-centered method. Thank you, Winnie. So, after watching the video, can you write in a sentence what was your reaction? After watching the video clip, what was your reaction? Let's write our reaction. After watching this video, what was your reaction? Post it in WhatsApp. What was your reaction after watching this video? It was supposed to be in the class under Ed Puzzle. It was one of our activities in Google Classroom. And I can see only 5 people have handed in. So it seems like only 5 people looked at it. Okay, it is denying me access. Okay, Edith says, I need to let my people have confidence to express their thinking. Thank you, Edith. So Edith says that she feels as the teacher, she has an opportunity to let their pupils express their thinking. So she says from the video, she took it up that when you let your learners express themselves, they are able to pick up. And therefore, as they pick up, they are able to gain confidence. Thank you, Edith.
My video is not playing, sir.
Your video is not playing. What is it saying?
It has just 2 sides. Learning, take away from video, it's not playing.
No, you're not playing the video on the screen. You are playing, can you see the new screen I've shared?
Yes.
You are playing this video. It was in the classroom. So you are given this video, which Esther is saying play, but Esther, I can't play it because when I try to play it, saying it's not, I don't have access. It was not assigned to me because it was assigned to the students. So that is my challenge here. So I'll urge you to watch this video. Yeah, if you go to class, you click in the class, you can click the video as a student, you'll be able to access. So video has seen, but I can see Philomen is saying, learners with self-efficacy participate more in class and have a fewer adverse emotional reaction. So as a teacher, I should encourage my people to express themselves, and that makes learning more interesting. So when you listen to these 2 answers from Edith and Philemon Wanjiko, you can get a sense of what the video was about. And it is more of learners' voice. Do learners express themselves in your class? Are they given airtime to speak? In a lesson of 30 minutes, how long do you speak? How long do we hear your learners speaking in class? So that is what it's all talking about. So in that particular lesson, when we come and sit there for 30 minutes, am I going to hear different learners speaking within the 30 minutes? Are we having learners not only answering which is the biggest animal, but expressing their own thinking. Why do you think big animals exist? So having open-ended question which allow the learners to express themselves. Because if you look at what Edith has said and what Philemon is saying, it seems like when learners express themselves, they get a sense of appreciation, and they also build their confidence. So do we encourage our learners to have that aspect of building confidence in the classroom or expressing ourselves? So that is what the video, which you need to submit because it's part of your assignment, to help you understand what is self-efficacy. So when you talk about self-efficacy, it's about a person's belief about their abilities from a task that can change and transform their lives. So it is self-efficacy which stretches an individual to try something which they believe can change their life. That is all what self-efficacy does. And as you are doing this, you end up removing the I am possible. You remove the I am from impossible, and you make it possible by taking that leap of risk-taking, self-awareness, and stretching your boundaries to where you want to. So we are talking of being able to stretch our learners so that they can be able to say, I can, it's possible, let me try it. Because it's not about the task, but it's about them appreciating that this is an opportunity which I need to take so that I move from one level to the other. So it's very important that we create opportunities for our learners. We don't demean them, we empower them, we build them up, so they have that opportunity that this is a growth opportunity which I'm taking. And I need to believe in myself. I am better today than yesterday, and tomorrow I'll be much better. So having that perspective in the learners is very, very important. So we need to watch what we do, the statements we make, the kind of feedback we give our learners, and ask ourselves, is it building the learners? Is it making the learners believe in themselves? Is it giving the learners opportunity to think about what is possible with themselves? So when we are doing that, we find that self-efficacy refers to a belief, because it's about you, where you know, I need A, B, C, D to get D. Just like a chef, when they are baking a cake, they know the ingredient, and they are very sure that if I mix this in the right quantity with the right heat at the right time, then I'm going to get this. So having that clarity makes you being stronger and develop self-efficacy. So what it does is, can I do this? So it's giving you that bridge. Can I do this? Can I do that? And in the process, for example, you can say, and I have confidence that I can draw any shape. So having tried, scribbled, drawn a straight line, then connected lines, now you can draw a triangle. Gradually, a learner is able to develop the confidence on the abilities which they can do. And that is self-efficacy. So the way a lesson is designed, it is meant to address that and see how is self-efficacy being facilitated. I want us to take a snippet to a class and observe a teacher. Observe this teacher, because what you want to see is self-efficacy helps the learners to navigate setbacks. They know, if I don't wake up in time, I will be late in school. If I don't finish my homework in the afternoon tomorrow, I'll not have time to cover. So knowing what are the setbacks is very clear. So I want us to visit this class, look at how this teacher is teaching, and then think on listen to the teacher, what the teacher is saying. What statements is she saying? How are they structured? And then we are going to share our observation in the class. So when you are having interaction, learners with self-efficacy have the following. One, they approach difficult tasks as challenges, not to be mastered. It's challenges which they want to master. They don't see them as threats to avoid. So when they go, they face a challenge because they want to answer it. They don't avoid it because it is a threat. Second, they develop intrinsic motivation. So they want to be engrossed in this activity. They have a desire to unravel it, a desire to unfold and check what does it mean. And that is created by the way the activity is structured. And within themselves, even beyond the goals the teachers have set, they have within themselves, they set their own goals. I want to be able to do this. So there is an element of goal setting which they undertake. And when they do all this, you realize they commit themselves to the goal. So there's an element of commitment to the goal which they undertake. So these are the attributes of learners with self-efficacy. I'll pose a question. Looking at our learners, what challenges do you think they present because of the lack of self-efficacy? What challenges do you think they present because they lack self-efficacy? If this is the parameters of learners of self-efficacy, if a learner misses anything of this, how does it influence their learning? Can we post a sentence each before we go and visit the class? I want us to develop this deeper so that when we go to observe the class, we have a clarity of what we are looking. We have a clarity on what we are listening to. So let's post. What kind of challenges do we face with learners who don't have self-efficacy, or their self-efficacy is too low? So I can see in the chat, learners inability to set, so they can't set their own goal. They lack inner motivation. They're afraid to undertake any task given. Thank you, Winnie. They tend to have low esteem and shy in expressing their ideas. They lack confidence. They are timid and easily intimidated. They are becoming truant. They fear to talk. They tend to be brutal since they think they are not valued. Wow. As you type this, As you respond, remember, this is your future doctor. This is your future, the teacher of your grandchildren. This is the lawyer or the magistrate of your court case. And this will be a pilot in the flight you'll be traveling with. Or this will be the policeman who will be guarding you. So looking at your answer, you can see that our future is under big threat. Because if they lack self-efficacy, we are going to experience all this that we have listed here. So let's take our trip. We go visit the school. When you're in the class, be silent. Don't scare the children. Just listen. Maureen is saying no confidence, hence they can't express themselves. So let's visit the class. We listen, we take notes, then I'll give you 2 questions to respond. 1, how was the teacher providing specific praise? And 2, how was she setting goals and describing little activities that will get the children meet the goals? So let's go to class and listen to this teacher. So note how the teacher is interacting with the students. What are the specific actions that the teacher is commenting on? What do you notice that is consistent with the findings of the feedback? So somebody is saying they feel shy. Eunice is saying they have no confidence. They are afraid. Thank you. The video is loading. Okay, it's just a 3 minutes. Let's listen to the class.
Praise can also be used to help pupils along the way. By encouraging a line of inquiry or endorsing a particular strategy, we'll see specific praise being applied in the classroom, and then hearing from a leading expert in education research who will explain why it's proven to work.
8 plus 7, that's really good numbers to start with, Kayla. Cards.
This class of year 2 and 3 pupils have been put in pairs to work on challenging maths problems.
It's really trying to build the children's confidence by giving them specific praise, telling them what they're doing well, giving them confidence to complete a challenge rather than give up at specific points in it.
In this puzzle, the pupils must find the missing numbers to make 20 along each side of the square.
Think about, add up your 2 end numbers. 13. Well done, Sophie. Excellent adding. So how many more do we need to get to 20? Super mathematician today. She is right. So it's them solving the problem rather than me showing them actually what to do. By just giving them that little bit of gentle.
Can you hear the video? I'm seeing people, they're saying they cannot see it. Can you hear the video?
See, it's noisy.
Yes, I can hear it.
Yeah, so let me, I know it's noisy because it's a classroom. Classroom needs to be noisy. Let me put it in WhatsApp, then you listen in WhatsApp and you tell me what happened. So I want to share the class observation in WhatsApp so that I know it's noisy. A good class is supposed to be noisy. A very quiet class is unfortunately. So let's see if I can put it in the class. Let's just look at WhatsApp and to put so that.
Okay. Praise can also be.
I'll put it in. It's big So let me see. It's very big. It's 64 MB and WhatsApp 60 MB. It's possible to upload it in that particular class. So I'm going to the YouTube. If I can do it very fast and share this video, it will take some 2 minutes because it's important to observe the class. Then you see how it's working. So it's saying 2 minutes left. Let me see how it goes. Meanwhile, I want you to think the class conversation and what types of statements or remarks which affects the learner's self-efficacy. When I was in grade 3, a teacher called me Jinga. And I didn't know what Jinga, I knew what Jinga was meant, but I didn't know why I was called Jinga, just because I could not answer a question which I did not have an answer to, because I did not understand the way I was taught. But I was the culprit. I ended up being called Jinga by the teacher. So I want you to think about classroom statements, which sometimes they are used by the teachers, but in the process, as much as it is classroom management, it is punishment, they have a punitive effect which can affect. I want you to think when you are a learner, something which happened to you. Can you post in the chat something which happened to you and you wondered, is this what schools are supposed to be? We were all learners one time in our life. So can you post something there in the chat which you think it affected you when you were a learner? Post a statement. So I've tried to post the video, it is still working. So try to play what I've shared and see if it is playing. It should play. It's a 3 minutes thing. I've shared a YouTube.
Praise can also be used to help.
Yeah, it's playing. So play that and see how it's working. So go to your WhatsApp and play that short video and listen what is happening. And let's listen. Three minutes, let's listen. So click the link in WhatsApp, listen to the 3 minutes video, then we go to the next activity. I'll try to play again on mine. If you can see, that's good. Hey, Daktari says my teacher told me sura kama mandazi ya baba yako. My dad used to run a hotel. Pole daktari. Leon Joki says the teacher telling us we are foolish like our mothers. Oh God, so sorry about that. Leon Joki.
Praise can also be used to help pupils along the way by encouraging a line of inquiry or endorsing a particular strategy. We'll see specific praise being applied in the classroom and then hearing from a leading expert in education research who will explain why it's proven to work.
So 8 plus 7, that's really good numbers to start with, Kayla. Cards.
This class of Year 2 and 3 pupils have been put in pairs to work on challenging maths problems.
It's really trying to build the children's confidence by giving them specific praise, telling them what they're doing well, giving them confidence to complete a challenge rather than give up at specific points in it.
In this puzzle, the pupils must find the missing numbers to make 20 along each side of the square.
Think about, add up your 2 end numbers. 13. Well done, Sophie. Excellent adding. So how many more do we need to get to 20? 7. Super mathematician today. She is right. So it's them solving the problem rather than me showing them actually what to do. By just giving them that little bit of gentle nudge, perhaps in the right area, or by giving them the specific praise and say, yeah, you're getting that right. That is the first move. You're doing it brilliantly. It then gives them the confidence to move forward and think, well, actually, if I've got that bit right, I can go and do the next bit right. So can you find 2 numbers out of those you've got left to add up to 7? Oh, like you're thinking, Sophie. So it's helping them make their own learning rather than me spoon-feeding them with answers. Nearly right. So you're thinking it's getting better. It's getting much better.
Specific praise could be adapted for pupils in later key stages. The research has been examined by Philip Accordingly, Director of the Centre for the Use of Research and Evidence in Education.
What we've just seen in the lesson there was someone using specific praise, which is in particular really, it means contextualise, so that the praise isn't just well done, it's well done about the particular thing that's going to make the difference in the learning. It's really good for promoting on-task behaviour, helping pupils to persist when in the face of difficulty, working better together as a group, and remembering what they've learned and using it and transferring it in different circumstances.
Okay, so, and we have Maureen saying, Kwenda huko, you are born of failures, you cannot make it. Pole, Maureen. My teacher told me like mother, like daughter. Okay, Pole, Justina. Peter Kanga say, no one in your family is learned. So you can see how teachers affect learners' self-efficacy by the way they do. But you can also do it negatively. When you are praising learners and you are not specific, then it can affect. For example, when you tell me very good, that is a praise. Very good about what? It's very important to be specific. Very good because you are leading the session well. That one makes meaning. But when you tell me very good, it doesn't make meaning. Or we said, pull up your socks. I don't have shoes. Why are you telling me to pull up my socks? So the kind of praises we give for our learners in class are very, so if you have watched the video, can you just say a statement so that we continue? What did you notice the teacher saying in class? If you listened or if you watched it in WhatsApp? Can you share what you, something which you listened about the video? Something you heard, something you noticed? Eunice says you try, you got it right. Well done, you got it right. Thank you, Eunice. So you can see not well done, but well done, you got it right. So there is a connection about the praise. Thank you, Eunice. Somebody else? Gentle and encouraging. Thank you, Peter Kingangi. Yes, the teacher, you say the teacher is gentle and the teacher was encouraging. Thank you very much. Winnie said the teacher allows the learners to give their view. Again, what we talked about, a learner's voice was very clear. Alice Wanjiko said teacher is good in motivating learners by praising them. Thank you, Alice. The teacher is concentrated much in the best learners. Teacher is patient with the slow learners, okay. Though we don't have slow learners, all learners are different. So you can not compare me and you. She probes the learners to think deeper. Thank you, Winnie. Yes.
Can I read some?
Yes, please.
The teacher is very specific in praising the learners. That is from Vincent.
Okay.
And Lucy Ann says, encouraging the learners to come up with correct answers. Yes. And then Jackie says, guiding learners and letting them do on their own and encouraging them.
Okay, thank you. Do on their own. So you are just guiding them, but it's them who are doing. Because sometimes at home, when our babies come and they have homework and mommy is struggling with 4+2, and you are there, you want to go to sleep, you say, mommy, 4+2, sijui daddy, mommy andika 6, kalale. So the homework is done, but the learning is not done.
Sure.
So how do we facilitate that and even teach our parents that it is possible? So we have seen a class scenario and we are reflecting on our own practices. And we need to ask ourselves, how can we create that learning environment so that learners are engaged and they're invited, and there is also that aspect of you can thrive here. So when you're talking about how to build self-efficacy, there are many attributes which we need to look at. There are beliefs. When you're told you will be like your mother, they're developing a belief in you. Then there is goals. How will you be able to? Mary, can you do 3 Psalms? Will you be able to finish 5? How many do you think you will do? And some teachers, when they are doing assignment, if I want my children to do 3 questions, I give them 5. And I tell them, choose any 3. So they feel like they are deciding, they're the one who will decide which 3 to do. So you are transferring some ownership to them, and in the process you are building the goal setting, because there is one who will finish all of them, because they could do the 3, but they do others just to find out what it is. Then responsibility, them knowing that I need to be responsible. It's time for maths, time for homework, it's time to go to play. So building that aspect of responsibility. Encouraging courage and boldness. Remember, when you start small with the kids and they come in front and they explain something, you're giving them that courage and bold. And if you're going to appreciate all answers, even me, whose my answer is wrong, I will come there and speak. When you say, name the things which can swim, I'll come there and say, giraffe, with confidence, because in that particular classroom, the environment allows us to make mistakes. The environment is inviting. We can express ourselves. So having that you are killing my interest in having the textbook all the time. Then that is different. That now opens up my interest. So how we structure our lessons will be very, very important. And also addressing skills and values, so that when we are learning, we are addressing things like, excuse me, thank you, please. So there are aspects of values which are being built in what we are doing. Aspects of motivation, and it was raised up by somebody in this session, one of our classmates, who talks about motivation. And lastly, how do we work with others? In the classroom, are we all facing the front? Our desks are straight, or are we allowed to face this side and work in small groups? Our groups changing every time so that we meet new people in the class and we engage? Are we mixed up when we are giving tasks so that we are able to make new friendship and learn how to work with people who we are not familiar with in that particular task? So those are things which we need to think as we develop our lessons and deliver our lessons. And therefore, I'd like us to take 2 minutes and start putting in your portfolio. What is it that you are taking away from this session, which you want to go adapt or adopt? From this session on self-efficacy, what is it that you are taking away? What is it that you are taking away? List it down as we proceed. What is your takeaway in literacy and numeracy that you think that now in my lessons, I will be doing things differently? We have 1 more minute. What is it that we are taking away from self-efficacy? So Edith saying the teacher is assuming she needs to explain it slowly. Yeah, Edith, I think you're still responding to what we watched in the video. Okay, the minute is over, but that will not stop you writing down. So please write down, but now we are going to do an activity. Please follow the instruction. Type a sentence in the chat. Type a sentence in the chat. We have finished that activity. We are now starting a new activity, afresh. We have closed self-efficacy. I know your portfolio will be built, but now we are going to a new activity. And in this new activity, I've told you, type a sentence in the chat. So Lizzie says it is very important for me that every child in my class know what is it that they can do. Giving the learners a chance to being patient with the learners, I will take away time to value. Fan Camp came out so well. Okay, now I want you to type a sentence about collaboration in the chat. Type any sentence about collaboration in the chat. Type a sentence about collaboration in the chat. Type a sentence about collaboration in the chat. Type a sentence about collaboration. Okay, John and I went to visit our sick teacher. Thank you. Type a sentence about collaboration. Collaboration will build friendship to learn and peer teaching. Okay. Collaboration is able to work with. Well done. Okay, we are waiting. Yes, giving learners to perform a task in groups. Okay. 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 Now, thank you. So at the beginning, I told you to type a sentence, and we all wrote different sentences covering different topics. In the second task, I've told you to to write sentences, and we have all written sentences, but they all have some convergence. They all have some aspect of collaboration. Now let us stop that and pay attention now. Now, I want us to follow some regiment of what we are going to do. This is what we are going to do. I want that we are going to write about communication in a classroom. Our topic will be communication in the classroom. But this is what we are going to do. We shall take turns. We will not all write. We are going to take turns. So don't write until somebody has written. You raise up your hand, I'll say who is going to write. So we are going to take turns as we write. So you'll raise up your hand. When I call your name, you are going to type. Now, when you type, I will call the next person's name, and the next person is going to type. The only trick here is that we want to write a story. So it will be one story. So for example, when Winnie starts a sentence, after Winnie, if Alice Wanjiko is next, Alice Wanjiko needs to read what Winnie wrote, then she builds up on the story. So we want to make one big story, but we are taking turns. So let me check who has lifted their hand. Who will write the first sentence of our story? The story is about communication in the classroom. I'm looking at the hands. Raise up your hand, and then I will say who will write the first sentence. I'm looking at the hands. Okay. Daktari, your hand is up. So Daktari, can you write your first sentence? Then I'll call the next person. Let us wait for Daktari to write the first sentence. Okay, Doc, let's go. We will wait, he writes, then I will call the next person. So he has said, once upon a time. So Leah Maina, can you continue the story? Leah Maina, continue the story. We are waiting for Leah Maina, and raise up your hand so that I'll call you to continue the story. Now it is Leah Maina. So, oh, she was not able to say there was a girl. She has said on WhatsApp there was a girl. There was a girl. So that is what Leah said. So once upon a time there was a girl. I'm going to call her name now because people are not raising up their hand. We have yes. What is your sentence? Oh, okay. Can you raise up your hand?
Yes.
Down there, there are 3 dots, and then you'll see a hand on your computer. You click on that. So the story has started. Once upon a time, there was a girl. So now I want to call Alice Wanji. She's not there. Okay. Grace, Hannah Kuria. Can you add the sentence? Hannah Kuria. Hannah Kuria, can you add? Hannah Kuria, we are waiting for the story. Hannah Kuria, we are waiting. Because unless you write, we can't continue. So we want to see what you're going to write because it will help us write the next. Hannah Kuria, your hand was up. Hannah? So we have Philomen Wanjiko. Can you write then?
Who lived with her grandmother. Who lived with her grandmother.
Okay. Daktari, can you add there who lived with her grandmother? Okay.
Hey.
Vincent Maundu. Vincent Maundu. Continue. Vincent Maundu. Kinuthia Boniface, can you continue? Kinuthia Boniface. Okay, so I think we are getting the gist of this small activity. Her grandmother was so old. Good. So we can continue and make a story. But there's something which is going on here. As we are doing this, one, we are respecting what the previous person has written. We are respecting and appreciating that. Second, we are taking turns. Because somebody is doing, then we are taking turns. So actually what we are doing, we are building the aspect of communication and collaboration. Because communication is message and feedback. Raise up your hand. I'll call the person who has raised up their hand. That is communication. When you raise up hand and say, Hannah Kuria, can you write? So that is feedback. So when Hannah Kuria writes, that is feedback. And you see, if we had continued like that, we will build our story together. So there is opportunity for you to bring communication and collaboration in your class, apart from what people say. Most teachers say, because the students are sitting together, that is communication and collaboration. No, that is a geographical communication and collaboration. There must be an conscious effort where the teacher is creating opportunities for learners to learn the skills of communication and collaboration. And these skills include, one, knowing when to communicate and when to collaborate. 2, the way we collaborate. You can see my hands moving. I gesture. So that is a way of communication. And how do we collaborate? Can I share something I don't have? Can I wish for something I don't have? Or which skills do we use to communicate in the classroom? That is very critical. How do we collaborate in the classroom? Do we take turns? Do we work in groups? Or how do we work? And do we respect intercultural communication? Do we appreciate the differences in our classroom and how we can do that? So those are things which we need to appreciate, that when you're talking about communication and collaboration, you're not talking about children just talking in class. You're talking about all these 5 abilities, because all those 5 abilities are very, very important in communication and collaboration. So you find that when you're doing communication and collaboration, we have cumulative talks where students share their knowledge and they agree other people's point, or I agree with you, but I think, and I wish to add, could I say more? That is cumulative talk. Then we have dispositional talk, whereby I don't agree. I think according to me, the river should have been this way because the dam was flooding. No, but the dam is up. So that kind of dispositional talk. And that is why when you go to class, you can have very animated talk and the learners are learning because here they are expressing their viewpoints. You can have exploratory talks. I can't think that the temperatures can be that low in that community, but because they are the equator, why don't we explore? What do you think? So these are the type of discussions which can be happening in the class, and as they are happening, they are nurturing very rich talk in which the learners are learning the skills of collaboration and communication. So how we nurture inside the classroom, we need to have essential agreements, not rules. We should have agreements in class. How are we going to talk? How are we going to take turns? And then we should also have an opportunity to explain. So when you tell a child, explain it, they don't think you have said wrong. They think, tell me more. So how you create the culture in the classroom brings it well. And the kind of action questions you ask in class. So if you ask simple question, memory-based question, then the children won't collaborate. But if you ask, create, evaluate, analyze question, why are the rivers flooding? To what extent can we reduce the flooding of the river? So such questions will facilitate the learners to think deeper, to seek guidance, to seek help, to reach out and collaborate. So the kind of tasks that we give will facilitate learners to work together. And that is what we are trying to build in our classroom. And as we are building that, there are some strategies which we could use. For example, demonstration. Can you show me how a plane flies? So a learner is coming to show, but maybe they'll need help for wings and all that. So you bring other people to help. Being able to use a whole class or pair work. So there's a time students are working together. There's a time they're learning from the whole class. So that ability facilitates them to work together. Using material beyond the textbook. So today we are learning about floods. I want you, when you go home, look for newspapers and cut out the story about floods. So they are going home. They will look for help at home. They'll communicate, Mommy, can I look at the newspapers we have? Mommy, help me check. So they are communicating. They are collaborating. Then they will all bring these papers in the class, and then you are going to share. So you are creating opportunity for collaboration, encouraging students to ask questions. Miss, I don't understand. Miss, what do you mean all rivers are flooding? Are they all rivers in Kenya? Miss, why are rivers flooding? So when you bring that opportunity for learners to ask questions, it's very important. And code switching, the rivers are flooding and a child does not understand what is flooding. You know, saa nyingine mito huwa inafurika, maji yanatoka yanaenda nje. So code switching is not bad. You are encouraging communication. A child did not understand. Then you can use their catchment language. and say, Marowere blah, 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 blah. So code switching is important because it facilitates the learning. You are reaching out to the learner. And finally, ensuring that the way you plan your lesson, you are not predictable. So that sometimes you start with questions, sometimes you end with questions, sometimes you encourage learners to explore. So these are strategies which you can use, and I want you to decide now, quickly, out of this role play, whole group, small group, think and share whole group, which one do you think which learners use? I am going to type this code and you will get something in your chat. Click on it. It will take you to a decision-making table where you will decide which one do you think helps what. So I've posted the link in the chat. Just click the link in the chat, and I'm going to post it in the WhatsApp for those who are not in the chat. And what I want you to do is click on that, and I want you to decide. Make that decision. You'll get questions there, and decide which approach. Decision. So if you go to WhatsApp, it's written make decision. If you go to the chat, it is there. I want you to make decision about this role play whole group. Are they for advanced children? Do they help inclusivity? Do they allow mixed ability? Make that decision. So quickly press that button. It will take you to a form, and the form will have a series of questions like this. If you look at my screen, and make that decision. I want you to click, and make that decision. So let's make the decision now. I'm waiting to see the responses. And if you have a challenge, let us know. If you click, it will open the form automatically, and let us make that decision. Let's make that decision, and if you are challenged, let us know. If you have a challenge, let us know. I'm waiting for responses. Make that decision. If you have a challenge, let us know. So you will access that and we'll make that decision. And as you are making that decision, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of this session. I know, Naomi, you have a challenge to connection. Don't worry. It is still in WhatsApp. So we are coming to the end. I want you all to open your cameras. We see each other. And then we have a closing prayer, as this is the end of the session. So can we have somebody?